Okay, here are some examples of FOILing. FOILing stands for first, outside, inside, last. So first means you have first, second, right? And then you have your outside terms and your inside terms. So first means these two. Outside means the ones that are outside the outermost of the four parentheses terms. Inside would be the innermost of the four parentheses terms. And then last would be in the pair, the two last of the two pairs. Good. It comes from, it's just another way to, it's a name for distributing. So when we're just distributing negative 5x to the third times the quantity 5x squared plus 9, it means we have to take that negative 5x to the third and multiply it by 5x squared. So negative 5 times 5 becomes negative 25, and then x to the third times x squared becomes x to the fifth. So those two multiplied together becomes that. But at the same time, that negative 5x cubed has to be multiplied by the rest of the parentheses. So no matter how many terms you have in the polynomial behind the monomial, that monomial has to be divided by it. So negative 5x cubed times 5x squared, the first term, becomes negative 25x to the fifth. But that same negative 5x to the third times the positive 9, oh shoot, 5 and 9 is 45. Not scary. Oh, but it's not plus, it's minus. Because it's a negative 5x. So it's negative 45x to the third, because the 9 didn't have any variables. So the negative 5x to the third has two roles, or as many roles as there are terms, right? It has to be multiplied by this, and then it has to be multiplied by this. What we're saying is we're distributing that negative 5x to the third to everything within the parentheses. So that's the basis of FOIL. What FOIL is there's a binomial, two terms. There's two terms being multiplied by another two terms. These two need to be multiplied by these two, so we have to do every pairing. A and C are together this time, being multiplied together. Then A and D are multiplied together. Then we move to B because A has been paired with C and A has been paired with D. We're not going to multiply A times B because they're being added or subtracted, right? So we've paired A with both of the options. Then we move on to pairing B with both of the options, B times C and then B times D. So if you go back and you say, did D get paired with both A and B? Yes, D got paired with B here, D got paired with A here. C got paired with B here, C got paired with A here. So it's just a way to make sure that you paired every multiplication possible when you are multiplying four terms. I should say two terms times another two terms. First example. X plus 5 times x plus 6. So our first term is going to be x times x. X times x just becomes x squared. Then you have your O for the outside terms. Our outside terms are x times 6. But I always like to have the number first. So it's just x times 6, but I'm going to call it 6x. So the number is in front of the variable. Inside means the two innermost terms, 5 times x. I'm just going to call 5x. And then L is for last. The two last terms of the pair is just 5 times 6. 5 times 6 is, what did we say, 30? So now I would just write that out as x squared, make sure of the sign, but they're all positive, so I'm just going to say x squared plus 6x plus 5x plus 30. Good. Now you just have a polynomial of 4 terms, but 2 of your terms you can combine. So the 6x and the 5x become 11x. And on the outside you had x squared, and it's a positive 11x. So we have x squared plus 11x plus 30. And you are done. What this is going to turn into as we get further along in algebra is, can we, and you saw a little bit of it in the review unit, but can we then change x squared plus 11x plus 30 into 2 binomials? And if you can, it's going to be x plus 5 times x plus 6, or x plus 6 times x plus 5. Good. So FOIL is the opposite of factoring. When we have to factor x squared plus 11x plus 30, we think, okay, it has to multiply to equal 30, and it has to add to equal 11. What 2 numbers multiply to 30 and add to 11? As we go down the list, we'll find that it's positive 5 and 6. They add to 11, they multiply to 30, and so we end up with x plus 5 times x plus 6. So FOIL is the opposite of factoring. Okay, let's do another example. This time we'll do 4x plus 3 times 3x plus 4. So again, you start with your first term, your f. Your f is going to be your 4x times your 3x. 4 times 3 is 12. X times x is x squared. Your O are your outside terms. So 4x times 4, they're both positive. 4x times 4 is 4 times 4 is 16x. I stands for inside. So my inside terms, or I've done 4 times 3, 4x times 3x, 4x times 4. Now I'm moving on to 3. 3 times 3x. Multiply the 3 and the 3, you get 9 with 1x. And last, you have that 3 times that 4. No x's, so it's just 12. Good? So as you can see, just by the demarcation, we've used each term 2 times in multiplication. So we would rewrite that as 12x squared plus 16x plus 9x plus 12. Oops, too far. Don't include the 12. You can add 16 and 9, you get 25x. It's a positive 25x. The 12x squared comes down, and 12x comes down on the other side. So that's how to FOIL 4x plus 3 times 3x plus 4. What if you just have x plus 1 quantity squared, right? So what you need to remember when you have the whole binomial squared, when that exponent 2 is outside the parentheses, is that this becomes x plus 1 times x plus 1. Good, but same thing. The first term is x times x. The outside term is x times 1. The inside term, I think I was trying to turn that into a D, the bottom of the D. Inside is going to be 1 times x, which is also just x. And then last is 1 times 1. 1 times 1 is just 1. If we line those all up, So that becomes x squared plus x plus x plus 1. Good. So the x squared remains x squared. The x and x, we're just counting them. How many x's are there? There are 2 x's. We're not multiplying them. We're just adding them up. So it's x squared plus 2x plus 1 is our final answer. Good. And again, if you factor that out, what you will get is you need 2 numbers that multiply to 1 but add to 2. So it's going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. All right. If you have a negative sign, just keep the negative with the sign behind. If it's a minus sign, right? So it's now a negative sign for the term behind it. So 4y minus 7 times 2y plus 10. How would we FOIL that? First, four y times 2y. 4 times 2 is 8y. Outside, same 4y times the outermost term, which is 10, so that's 40y. Inside, the 2 inner terms, negative 7 times 2y. So this is a negative 7 and a positive 2, and negative times a positive is going to be a negative. 7 times 2 is 14, and there was 1y. And then last, we're going to have negative 7 times a positive 10, negative 70. Good. So the pattern for FOIL is you set it up. This one times this one is going to give you, oh, a big mistake. This term times this term, these are going to have have variables. So your variable is going to be raised to the second exponent. Your next term is going to be that variable raised to the first power. Your third term is going to be that variable raised to the first power. And your last term is not going to have a variable. So what you're going to do is combine the middle 2 terms if the terms are alike. So that was a negative 14y, so it becomes minus 14y, negative 70 becomes minus 70. Generally, this one and this one stay the same. 40 minus 14, so that's a positive 40, but we're going to subtract 14 from it and we get 26. Y minus 70. Good.